HomeSchool Advisor on The Richard Serrett Show.
All right, welcome back. What if your child's education wasn't just about memorizing facts, but mastering the art of thinking itself? Classical education, built on the Trivium, does just that. But what does it all mean? We're gonna break down the three stages that have been shaping brilliant minds for centuries right now. Robert Bortons is the CEO of Classical Conversations, helping support classical Christian homeschoolers in all 50 states and in 30 foreign countries, including Canada. Robert, welcome back. How are you?
Richard, I'm glad to be here and excited to talk a little bit about classical education today and why it's so different than our modern paradigm.
Yeah, how does it differ from modern educational approaches?
Yeah, so I think the biggest overall is what our end goals are. And typically, modern education is job focused or career focused. But of course, we know jobs come and go. We don't know what jobs are going to be disrupted by AI or what's going to happen next, versus classical education is really pursuing truth, beauty, and goodness. And we do that by giving children a framework to learn anything the rest of their lives. So whatever disruptive technology comes next, they actually have been equipped with how to learn anything and everything under the sun by just practicing the tools of learning using different subject matter. So it's a totally different way of going about educating our young people.
Okay, so explain the trivium and how it's three stages. You have grammar, logic, and rhetoric. How do they align with a child's natural development?
Yeah, so the first is the grammar stage or the poll parrot stage, as they used to call it. And so that is just when students' brains are like a sponge. They're absorbing everything, right? They're learning to talk because their brain is just naturally taking in all of these different sensory experiences, and then they're parroting it back to the parents, and they slowly develop their skills. And so no one has a degree in teaching children to talk. Parents just do that naturally by talking to them. So the first stage is the grammar stage, where children are memorizing people, places, dates, facts about history, geography, mathematical equations, and they're doing it to song and to games and to exercises. And so that these things are just innately part of them the rest of their lives. And the children love to do it. And then as they start maturing, they actually start, like, we don't care if they understand it. We just want it to be in their system. Because then when they get older, the middle school, we call it kind of the logic stage. And that's when they start putting all these facts together and start understanding some of what they've absorbed, and being able to start having conversations and writing papers and discussions and understanding, like, oh, this is geography and this is history and these are why this war happened, because they're actually fighting over this body of water, and things of that nature. And then the final stage of learning for the trivium is the rhetorical stage. And so that's where you are able to explain things to others, to participate in a debate, build something great. So it's three stages that we all practice and learn anything. It's really common for people to say, if you can teach someone else, then you know that you know it. Well, classical education is a three-step process to get to that point where you can teach other people what you know.
Right, so grammar, logic, and rhetoric, that's the trivium. Would it be fair to say, this is just my own sort of personal, I don't know, point of view here or interpretation of what's happening in the public school system, they're basically extending the grammar stage, just memorization from K right to grade 12, and they're sort of, I don't know, they're not really utilizing the logic and rhetoric stages.
Oh yeah, they definitely don't want to teach you logic. Otherwise, people wouldn't go for all these government programs and these
Mm.
things the globalists are wanting us to do. So yeah, they extend the grammar phase through 12th grade. Now we all go through grammar stage. Like if you want to learn something new, like if you were to go learn scuba diving, you'd never been before, right? You'd want to know flippers and how thick your wetsuit needs to be, and like what are the different parts of your air system. So those would all be the grammatical stages of learning to scuba dive. So there's nothing wrong with the grammar, dialectic, and rhetoric. Whenever you approach something new, you're always going to be in the grammar stage. But the problem is they've extended it, as you mentioned, to the 12th grade so that they never even get into the logic or rhetoric stage, because you really have to, in classical education, we try to learn a lot about a little bit, because once you know how to learn a lot about a little bit, you can apply that to many other areas. But typically, your typical modern education is just surveying a lot. So you know a very little bit about a lot of things, which actually doesn't really help you at all. It doesn't help you know how to dive into something, how to make something your own, how to engage with materials that you like or even materials that you don't like. And so it's important that you advance. And so that's why a lot of kids get bored, is they're just continually in this stage of grammar, but their brain and their minds have developed past it. But our education system never gives them the opportunity to continue exploring these ideas deeper. They just want you to keep surveying things superficially.
So we only have about a couple minutes, and maybe we can pursue this again next week. But so, how do parents who are new to classical education start incorporating its principles at home?
Yeah, I mean, it's called the Lost Tools of Learning for a reason, because we're all working on it. But luckily, at Classical Conversations, we've got a lot of books. My mom, Lee Bortons, wrote a book called The Core, and it really breaks it down how to do it by subject. There's materials by Dorothy Sayers, The Lost Tools of Learning. That's kind of the essay that started it all. So I would suggest you start reading that, and it's going to go way over your head, but it might inspire you to go do some more research. But there's a lot of resources online at Classical Conversations and other sources as well if you want to learn more about those and dive in either through YouTube videos, buying materials, or even going to classical education conferences now.
The Trivium, all part of classical education. Classicalconversations.com for more information. Robert, thank you as always. We'll talk again next week.
Thank you.